topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good afternoon, Los Angeles. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show, where we bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. I have been doing this show for 15 years now, and I have never received so many of your emails. I guess when they saw that this show was going to be on, and by the way, this show is going to be replayed next week. It's such an important show. But we got so many letters from people with all kinds of questions, a lot of them about mortgage rates, a lot of them about what's going on in real estate. And we are so blessed to have one of the finest brokers in the state of California, PB Financial Group Corp. We have got Pouyan Broukhim with us, and I got to tell you, we talked about maybe 5 minutes before the show, and we all hear about interest rates going down, but I got a real schooling from one of the top people and our expert right now. Hey, good afternoon, Pouyan.
Hey there, Steve. How are you? Good morning.
I just so trust you, your knowledge of the business. And I want people to know, you have a lot of choices out there, but Pouyan's been around forever. And he really knows his business. And first of all, tell us about PB Financial Group first, Pouyan.
PB Financial, we've been in the business for 17 years, have funded thousands upon thousands of transactions. We look to help people. We like to be able to communicate with our borrowers one-on-one, understand where they're coming from, where they want to go, and try to achieve their ultimate American dream. That we've achieved our American dream, and we want to share that with other people to buy real estate, invest in real estate, buy a home, buy an investment property, buy whatever, create that opportunity. That we're just not another mortgage broker where we try to sell you a mortgage and be like, hey, this is it. No, we want to be there by your side for you, with your investment property, hopefully your kids, and just create wealth for yourself for generations to come.
Well, I got to tell you, I was just blown away from the amount of letters, the emails that we have received, the text messages we've received about your show. And I want to tell you something else, Pouyan. Like I said, we've been doing this show for 15 years, and we work with a lot of mortgage companies around the country. You are our exclusive mortgage company for California. But I got to tell you, you were the first one who brought up about hard money. And I got to tell you, this is really funny because we do a lot of research. It's first starting to come. You've been doing this for a while, but hard money is first starting to come around with brokers across the country. But you were like one of the first.
Well, when I got into the industry, there was a lot of conventional lenders. There's a lot of people doing, just the plain vanilla kind of transaction. I understood that there's a lot of different market. There's A, B, C, D borrowers. People have different abilities. People come from different backgrounds. I mean, living in Los Angeles, you see a lot of different cultures, different creeds, religions, all sorts of different mix and different customs, and they're not all able to fit the same box. Everybody needs a different opportunity. Everybody needs a first chance, a second chance, and they might not know it. And with hard money, you're able to consider people that do not fit in the bank's box, and they need alternative financing to either tap equity in a property, or to acquire property, to get into commercial properties where they want to occupy, or buy a piece of land for them to develop. There's a lot of need for financing throughout California.
How is hard money different from like traditional bank loans? I think he's muted.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear. Yes.
Oh, sorry. I don't know how that happened. But we basically are able to look at people's needs in a unconventional way. We want to be able to give that person a make sense opportunity to build wealth for themselves, and their family 2 years to come. Just because you come from Latin America, or you come from Middle East, or you come from Canada, they have different ways of doing mortgages, and some countries don't even allow mortgages. So somebody who comes to America and there's mortgage options and they don't know about it, they wait until they can save enough money to buy something cash. And we want to be able to give those people an opportunity to acquire properties at a much earlier stage of coming to America and build that future for themselves.
What types of projects or borrowers are typically suited for this hard money loans?
People that inherit properties, people that, for example, somebody who has a reverse mortgage, and their parents pass away and they need to pay that reverse mortgage off in 90 days. We go in there and not ask so many questions and try to get them paid off so their back isn't against the wall. Or somebody who is getting a great opportunity. Let's say they're buying a $500,000 property for $400,000 and they're making money on the buy. We'll come in and help those people get and tap into that equity that they're buying into. So we try to create opportunities and be a make sense lender. We listen to people and what their desires are, and try to achieve that ultimate goal for them, to acquire that property and build future and generational wealth.
Yeah, it's funny you brought up about reverse mortgages, and we got a letter the other day when they saw your show was coming up, and they wanted to know. They said they see all these commercials on TV about reverse mortgages, but then everything they read about them is negative. What are your thoughts on reverse mortgages?
Every product has its individual borrower. Every reverse mortgage is not good for all elderly people, but somebody who has a lot of equity in their property, and they don't have other means of income besides Social Security, and cost of living has gone up for everybody, me, you, yes, everybody. There's nobody that's not a target of that. Everybody, we're all paying more for everything, from eggs, bread, housing, insurance, everything. So if somebody doesn't have any other assets and they want to continue living in their home, they don't want to sell that home, a reverse mortgage, yes, it's costly and the interest rate is high, but it gives them cash. It gives them that ability not to make mortgage payment, and it kicks the can down the road. But at the end of the day, that's the best thing for them, and then when they have somebody that inherits the property, they come to us and we pay off the reverse mortgage, so they're able to make payments. And with the thing with reverse mortgage, after somebody's passing, they have 90 days for that property to be sold or paid off. Not everybody has that kind of money to pay off
Right.
their parents' property, so they're forced to sell, even though if they want to keep it, they think they have no choice. But somebody like that comes to us, we're able to pay reverse mortgage off and give them some extra cushion to fix up that property and put it into a rental market. So now they have this property that's going to give them income going forward. So, and they don't have to sell it, and that home can start continue appreciating for years to come.
What is the approval process for a hard money loan? How's that different from, say, a conventional loan?
Well, we want to see equity. We want to see that somebody has enough equity to protect our interests and also not get into trouble, not go into foreclosure. If we see somebody that's going to go into foreclosure immediately after we give them the loan, we won't do that loan. We're not looking for trouble. We're looking to have the borrower be knowledgeable about what they're doing and the funds that they're taking out, and plan accordingly. Build their future, build an exit plan, have a plan so they can go ahead and pay us off, either sell the property or refinance into a conventional loan. Get out of that distress that they're in and plan for the future so they're not back into distress.
With this show, we try to educate our listeners and viewers, and there's got to be, I guess, some common misconceptions about hard money lending. What have you encountered there?
Well, people sometimes think we're loan sharks, right? They're like, oh, I'm gonna go to this guy, get a loan from him, and then he's gonna come break my legs. No, none of that. We're like make sense people. You know what I mean? We would only put somebody into foreclosure once they don't communicate with us and they're not receptive to our communication to try to work out a plan. Again, we're not looking to foreclose on anybody's property. We just want to be able to communicate and have an understanding of what the exit plan is, what the future holds, and what the borrower has planned to get their life in order and plan for a better future.
I'm going to say this. I think your firm, PB Financial Group Corp, is one of the finest mortgage companies in California. And it's really, we're getting a lot of text in. This must be mostly Southern California people, Pouyan. People want to know your feelings on what's going on in the market, buying and selling homes now with the fires.
The fires have been very unfortunate. It's going to take long time to clear all that up in Altadena and in the Pacific Palisades. Both wealthy and poor individuals have been harmed. There's going to be some, unfortunately, the California leadership has not done a great job of leading. We wish there was a better direction, better coordination, better planning for the people that have been harmed. But that has created some opportunities for some investors. It's created opportunities for people that wanted to move out of the state, where before they were stuck, they didn't want to move. It's hard to move, for anybody. So now that this has happened, people had to unfortunately run away from their homes and whatnot. Now they're thinking, hey, maybe this is the perfect time to get out of California. You know what I mean? For wealthy and poor, there's a lot of, like, going back to the leadership. The leadership has really destroyed kind of the fabric of society and the direction of California. We're a prosperous and sunny area. People want to come here. So when you have a lot of homelessness and a lot of social issues that are not addressed properly, people second think. They're like, all right, great weather, but I want to stay alive. I want to go somewhere where I'm safe. My kids are safe. And that's really important. I've thought about it myself. I have 3 kids, and I've thought about it. Maybe it's better to get out of Los Angeles and go somewhere maybe north, or go. I personally like Utah. Wouldn't mind moving out to Utah. It's just unfortunately very cold out there. So
Yes.
going from California to Utah is not that simple of a solution. But thinking about your family makes you move as in what direction, and that creates opportunities, and it creates selling opportunity as well.
Do you think that area will be built back up again? Or are we looking at many years?
Unfortunately, the way it sounds from the leadership, it sounds like it's going to take years and years. Currently, when a property catches on fire, within a week or two, the site is cleaned up, and there's been zero cleanup over there, and it's been over a month and a half. They're not allowing people to go up there and clean up for many different reasons, environmental probably, or they don't know where to put all that debris. But these are things that need decisions quickly, and you need a partner. Currently, I do a lot of ADUs in the city of Los Angeles, and when I submit plans, it takes anywhere from 6 months to 9 months to get an approval. I can't imagine all these people all submitting plans at the same time and being able to get an answer that quickly. So I think it's going to take years and years just for the approval and cleanup of the property. And we have the Olympics coming here, I believe, in 4 years. And so
Yes.
we have all this homelessness. Where are all these people going to stay? Where's this going to end up? I mean, personally, I'm kind of scared for the future of Los Angeles.
Yeah, and Los Angeles is like I think the 5th biggest market in the world, financial market in the world. We just got a text, and I got to tell people this because we do get a lot of texts about your show. We get a lot of mortgage brokers who listen to this show, who call us, and it's amazing, Pouyan, with your show. We do other mortgage shows around the country in different markets. And I got to tell you, we get people will go, oh, your expert doesn't know what he's talking about. You should have our company. I got to tell you, the 4 or 5 mortgage brokers who've contacted us about your show, really, every one of them compliments you.
Well, I'm very appreciative. We come from a plate of honesty, and we don't try to sugarcoat things. If anybody wants to get a hold of me, my phone number is on here. My email address is Pouyan, Pouyan, at calhardmoney.com. We've actually just created a TikTok show where we have done about like 20 different videos, all informative information. If you put in PP Financial into TikTok, we come up. I have a lot of good information that I've experienced in life that I like to share with everybody else. I mean, what I'm providing is I'm in the trenches every day, and this is what I'm seeing come at me. And I want everybody else to know what I'm seeing. It's not a secret. It shouldn't be a secret. Everybody should be very informed making real estate decisions. It's really important to unfortunately, real estate is one of the biggest investments anybody makes in their life. And the more information you have, the better you are equipped to deal with it.
You know what I think? I think people really appreciate not only your honesty, but your knowledge. 2 really important things in your industry. We've got a couple minutes left. Tell people why they should come to you rather than somebody else.
So with hard money, we're direct. We are making the decision in-house within 24 to 48 hours. We'll give you a commitment. We'll give you direction as in what needs to be done. We have a lot of experience. We do this every day. This is not a side gig for us. A lot of mortgage brokers, unfortunately, are struggling because they don't have the same reputation as us, and we're here to get things done. If we hear in an initial conversation, we hear that it's something that we're not going to be able to help you with, we're going to tell you, hey, I'm sorry, we're not going to be able to tell you. Here are the reasons why, and here's what you should do to better your situation. We want to help people at the end of the day. Even if we can't help you, we'll tell you what to do to better yourself and better your future to be able to qualify for that hard money loan or conventional loan. Either way it is, even if it's not with us, we're not trying to get every single dollar in this market. We're trying to be able to help people grow our name and grow the whole hard money business.
We're flashing your phone number, but for those listening on iHeartRadio and on our radio station, tell people how they can reach you.
You can email me at POUYAN at calhardmoney.com. You can call my office at 877-700-3703. Even when we're not here, leave us a message. We always get back to you. Communication is key to us. We like to talk to people. We're not like keyword. We don't want to just email people or DM people. And no, that doesn't, like, it's great to start a conversation that way, but communication to one-on-one conversation, you can hear people, you can understand them. Listening to somebody's voice matters a lot, because if they have fear and whatnot. But if you're sending people emails left and right, you don't have the same connection with them. You don't hear the struggles that they're going through, and you hear that when you talk to somebody one-on-one.
You'll be back. We're going to replay the show because it is so important. Next Tuesday at 5:00 Eastern time. Pouyan, we are so blessed to have you. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you very much for having me. Really appreciate you, man. Have a great month.
God bless you, bro. Bye-bye.
Right.
We're going to go to a short break. When we come back, we're going to Texas. Oh, my God, this is going to be a great show. People have actually asked us when the next show is going to be on. We've got one of the greatest tax relief attorneys in both Tennessee, Missouri, and Texas. And I'm so excited about having him. We'll be right back, I promise you.
K. Bender Rembaum is a full-service community association law firm dedicated to the representation of community associations throughout Florida. On kbrlegal.com, you can learn more about their offices in Pompano Beach, Palm Beach Gardens, Orlando, Tampa, as well as throughout Miami-Dade by appointment. Several K. Bender Rembaum attorneys are board-certified specialists in condominium and plan development law and assist clients with all matters of community association legal issues while keeping them up to date on new developments that affect their associations. K. Bender Rembaum is also a well-known provider of free legal education for managers and board members. Contact K. Bender Rembaum today by calling 800-974-0680. That's 800-974-0680 to reach any of their locations. You can also visit them online at kbrlegal.com or write to them at info@kbrlegal.com.
And we are back with the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV with your hosts, Steve-O, Sophia, and their expert guests.
Good afternoon, Texas. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show, where we bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. because of the holidays, we have been running this next show on replay. We are live today. I'm so excited because this is such an important topic. And if you've never gone up against the IRS, it's a very scary topic. We found one of the top tax relief experts in the country, and I'm so glad that we have him for not only Texas, but he also handles Missouri and Tennessee. Today, we're here for the Texas people. Let me welcome you to Attorney Lance Drury.
Thank you, Steve.
Now, don't get a big head about that now. So you're new to Texas. How do you like San Antonio?
Oh, I love it. Papados.
Yes.
Domingos on the Riverwalk was probably the best enchilada I've ever had.
No kidding. Yeah, there's some great restaurants in San Antonio. It's such a beautiful area. We got a text right before the show, somebody in Austin wanting to know if you handle tax relief in Austin.
Well, we're about 80 miles from Austin, so we have people call us from all over, including Austin, Texas. And who knows, maybe the day will come when we'll be in Austin. One of the reasons I went to Texas was I had offices in St. Louis and Nashville, and Austin's only 80 miles away and from San Antonio, so I double my pool of prospective clients because between Austin and San Antonio, it's 5 million people.
Right.
And in another year or two, San Antonio metropolitan area wise will be bigger than the St. Louis metropolitan area.
Well, I got to tell you what's dear to my heart for the show. First of all, I was born in St. Louis at Barnes Hospital. I graduated from the University of Texas in Austin. So your areas are very dear to my heart. Lance, tell people about your firm.
About the firm?
Yes.
Well, I'm 71 years old and we keep growing the firm. We represent more than 1,000 individuals or businesses. And I now have 15 employees, including myself. We have 6 employees in Missouri. I live in a small town about 50 minutes from my St. Louis office. Very historic, St. Genevieve, Missouri, settled by the French in 1735. We're now part of the National Park Service. Tomorrow, I'll drive to my St. Louis office, see 3 prospective clients. Sunday morning, I have 2 phone calls with prospective clients. We have 6 people in Nashville, 4 attorneys, 2 legal assistants, and I have 2 lawyers in Los Angeles and 1 in Orlando, Florida. I have the best group of practitioners, of lawyers that I've ever had in the 20 years that I've been doing this.
Wow. And, when it comes to taxes, Lance, you know this, you've been doing this long enough. A lot of times people get that letter, that dreaded IRS letter, and what do? They stick it in the drawer thinking it's going to go away, but it doesn't, does it?
No. And when you get those nasty letters, you better pay attention to them, because then if you don't respond in a timely fashion, your bank account's going to get wiped out. They're going to take 90% of your take-home pay. They're going to take 100% of your 1099s. And this is how bad it was this summer. Normally, it's all psychological on people's part. They think that the IRS is going to come after them more during tax season. So normally our big months are January through May. Well, in July of last year, we had a record revenue and a record profit month for the firm because the IRS was wiping out those bank accounts, taking those wages, or they were threatening to do that. And that's when people call you. Because let's face it, my people are they're procrastinators. That's how they got into this problem.
Yes.
They don't file their tax returns for years, or, they get these letters from the IRS and they just put it off. And so it all just kind of snowballs. And we really, it's not uncommon anymore to see somebody with $100,000 tax liability. Tomorrow I'll be talking to a couple that owe $95,000, but we're really getting some huge liability cases now, and it's only going to continue. The nasty grams from the IRS are only going to continue. I don't think that Trump's going to abolish the IRS, but he may get some of the money back that Biden earmarked for not only like $87 billion and 80,000 new employees, but it's not going to hurt my business. We get 25 prospective clients every week call us for service.
You know what? That reminds me, I want to bring this up. People don't understand, Lance. It's going to hurt you when you talk to the IRS yourself, because these people are very good at what they do, aren't they, when it comes to collections?
Yes.
And the common person can say the wrong thing to them.
All the time.
Yeah, and what to say.
Yeah, and it's not just that. It's that when they call the IRS doesn't tell them how the game's played. They just set them up on a payment plan where they're paying every last dime back. And the reason I know that is then they call me, and the first words out of their mouth when they sit down across from me or I'm on the telephone with them is, "I can't afford the payment." And I go, "Then why did you agree to do this?" And they said, "Well, they told me this is what I had to do." I said, that's not right. It's all based on your ability to pay it back. You go through financial statements, bank statements, credit card statements, debit card statements. It takes a lot of time, but if you want a deal from Uncle Sam, you got to put in the time to get that deal, and you got to show him the proof that you can't pay it back.
And speaking of time, I had a guy call me, and because we promote your show about 3 days out, and I had a guy call me just to tell me that he tried to do it himself, and he called the IRS and was literally on hold for 3 hours.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, "I'm a businessman. I don't have time for that." When they sign with you, Lance, you take over all that for them.
Oh, absolutely. That's what you get a lawyer for, to have somebody stand between you and the IRS. And in fact, we make it a condition of our continued representation that they not talk directly to the IRS, because then we don't know what's going on.
Right.
And the other thing is, and what people don't realize, they have this liability. So they think if they call up the IRS, it's going to make things better. No, it just puts you on their radar, and then they're going to start the cycle. They're going to make unreasonable demands, give you unreasonable deadlines. So we don't call unless there's an existing deadline already in place, or we're ready to negotiate a settlement.
We just got a text from San Marcos, Texas. Listening to your show, I found it by mistake, but I'm so glad I did. What a great show. What do you do if you can't afford to pay your back taxes? Do I go to jail?
No, not for not paying your back taxes. You can go to jail for not filing your tax returns. That's a federal crime. But you just because you owe the money doesn't mean you have to pay it back. But you have to prove, as I said earlier, to the IRS that your client doesn't have the ability to pay it back. And those financial statements are so confusing, so complicated for the average individual. We may have to go back and forth 3, 4, 5 times. And we have to do that for 2 reasons. Number one, the taxpayer is submitting those financial statements under penalties of perjury. And secondly, guess what? If my client gives me bad numbers, I'm going to give them bad advice. So we got to get the numbers right. We got to get the numbers right for those 2 reasons.
Here's another text from New Brunswick, Texas. That's right outside San Antonio. Do you go on audits with your clients?
Well, we do audits all the time, but we don't let the client close to the auditor.
Okay.
Because so like we've got one in San Antonio now, and there was an auditor in the this is in Nashville. We had a audit in the Nashville office, and there was an auditor there every day, all day, every other Friday, and that went on for months because it was a line by line audit of a tax return. So, yeah, we don't want our client anywhere close to anybody affiliated with the IRS.
Here's another one from San Antonio. Bruce in San Antonio, you mentioned you have a lawyer in California. I have a friend of mine who's having difficulties with the IRS. Do you handle clients in California?
Well, we get clients from all over the United States, and we just represented somebody. We're representing him now. My two lawyers in California, one is licensed in the state of California, so he's representing him on a state matter. But we take clients from all over, but we don't have a physical office in California. And we don't advertise on the radio stations
Right.
in California either.
What do they do? So someone makes the call to you. Let's just say that they've gotten that dreaded letter from the IRS. What's the first thing that they need to do? They need to call you up, I guess, and give you power of attorney. Is that right?
Well, what we do is all my legal assistants do intake. We take all kinds of vital information. And then I have that intake sheet with me during the initial consult. So I have some idea of what's going on with the case. And then we discuss the case and talk about our fees. And then if they sign up with us, then they have to sign off on a power of attorney and an engagement letter. And it is now taking, because the IRS gets more screwed up all the time, it's now taking 20 business days at a minimum for that power of attorney to process. So that's a minimum now of 4 weeks. When I first started this 20 years ago, it was like 10 days. Then after the pandemic, it was 2 to 3 weeks. Now they're up to 4 weeks.
You know, sometimes you have to hit rock bottom before you take care of a problem. Lance, tell people if they don't handle their business with the IRS, what can the IRS do to them?
Well, they can shut down their business. They can take 90% of their take-home pay. They can wipe out their bank accounts. They can seize assets. They can seize your home. It doesn't happen often, but it has happened. And so you don't want to ignore the sleeping giant. So you get those nasty letters, you had better act.
Paul in Alamo City wants to know how far can the IRS go back on your taxes?
Well, I guess that depends. It's different for different contexts.
Is there a statute of limitations?
Well, there's a statute of limitations on collection. But for example, if you don't file a tax return and the IRS hasn't filed a tax return, the statute of limitations on collections is yet to begin. But here's the other thing you need to keep in mind. If you have a lot of unfiled returns, in order to be compliant with the IRS, you only have to file the last 6 years' tax returns. And I see accountants screw this up all the time because they just dabble in it. I've seen accountants give bad advice because 90% of what they do is tax preparation. It's not dealing with the IRS. But let's say for 2015, you have not filed. If the IRS has not filed, you don't want to file that return because your liability is zero. And if you're self-employed and you haven't made estimated tax payments for all those years, You're just putting liability on the books that you don't have to put on the books, because you only have to file the last 6 years' tax returns in order to be compliant with Uncle Sam.
You know, we get a lot of people asking us about this fresh start. Is that really for real?
Well, there is a program that they call a fresh start, but basically it hasn't changed anything. You can't call them up and say, hey, I got a good guy for a client, give him a fresh start.
Yeah.
I wish it was that easy, but everybody thinks there's something magical about it, but there's not. They changed a few of the rules. They made the offers easier to get. They raised the limit on when a lien would be placed on your property, but you still have to prove to the IRS that you don't have the ability to pay. So you can't get a fresh start if you make $500,000 and you only owe 50,000 because you've got the ability to pay them back.
I think another thing I've learned from doing these kind of shows are people that don't understand you have a lot of different methods that you can use. It's not like just one thing. You have so many ways where you can help people.
That's true. And one of the best things that we can do is, after we get the financial statements, we can give them advice on how to structure their assets and their expenses so they get a better deal out of Uncle Sam. I'm just going to give you a small example. It's probably been 7 to 8 years ago. I represented a woman. She owed a little over $40,000. So we went through the financials 3 to 5 times. It showed she could pay $600 a month. Well, the IRS still had 4 years to collect. So basically she was going to pay close to $30,000 on that $40,000 plus debt. So I called her up one day. I said, you need to go out and buy a new car. She goes, they're going to let me buy a new car when I owe them all this money? I said, you got a car with 200,000 miles. A reliable vehicle is a necessary and reasonable expense in determining your ability to pay. I said, if I set you up at $600 a month, that car with 200,000 miles is going to break down. You're going to pay the repair bill. You're not going to be able to pay Uncle Sam then that month. You've wasted all your money in hiring me because the deal is going to go down the drain, because one of the conditions is that you pay every month and you stay 100% compliant moving forward. So she went out, got a $500 a month car payment, paid the IRS $100 a month for 4 years. So on a $40,000 plus debt, she paid less than $5,000 over time, not in a lump sum. And so she had the positive of the time value of money by paying it over time as well. That's just some of the things that we can do to try to help people out.
Lance, what are some of the biggest misconceptions that people have about the IRS?
Well, I think we talked about one of them earlier. People think they can do this on their own.
Yeah.
They think it's easy, and it's not. When I was a regular small town lawyer, 15 hours of continuing legal education a year. Now, all my lawyers in Missouri, in Tennessee, in LA, in Orlando, Florida, we spend a minimum of 50 to 100 hours or more a year just keeping up on this, because they're a bureaucracy. Things changed. The pandemic changed things. Now they are more screwed up than they've ever been. They're hiring people, the IRS, and they're in their automated collection system, and they don't get properly trained. And a lot of them don't know what they're talking about. We know whether or not they're right about what they say, but your average person wouldn't know that.
I'm going to tell you something, because we really do our due diligence. There are companies out there, Lance, you know this, that tell you all different kinds of, I just call them fantasy stories. And you go and you do your due diligence on these companies, and the thing that I have not seen anybody write on your company, but they have all these people said, you know what, I had paid my money and I never even heard back from them. Took me forever to hear back. And I got to tell you, that's why feel so blessed to have your firm as our expert. You got to be so careful on who you retain to do this.
Absolutely. I tell everybody, if you don't hire me, there's 3 rules. You hire an attorney that does this every single day. Don't get somebody who dabbles in it. Don't hire an accountant. All of my attorneys have heard horror stories of advice that accountants gave to their clients that just made their situation worse. Number 2, go local. And number 3, don't hire one of the big boys. There's a lot of scam artists out there. The industry gets a bad name because of those big companies. They never tell you what you're going to pay. They just keep asking for more money and they don't do any work.
That's what's so important about a show like this is that people can get the truth. And I want to end the show with, this is so important. I want to hear from you. Why should I hire your firm, Lance?
Well, you should hire my firm because in St. Louis, we're a 4.7 out of 5 on Google reviews. In Nashville, we're a 4.9 out of 5 in Google reviews. I've been nationally recognized by the American Society of Tax Problem Solvers as their top practitioner. I think it was in Los Angeles in 2016 or 18. I don't remember. I've given speeches across the country. I've co-authored books. And last April, I was quoted in Forbes magazine in an article there. And I've been featured in a number of national publications in the past year to a year and a half. So we're the real deal. We help people out, and I'm 71.
I was going to say, the only problem is you don't look 71.
Well, I don't know about that. But anyway, I want to work 10 more years, but we continue to grow the business. I've never had 15 employees before. I've never had over 1,000 clients at any one time. I'm looking forward to the day when we have over 1,500 clients in this office, and I keep hiring better and better practitioners. So, and in fact, my last 3 were all from headhunters, a great firm that I dealt with, and they're not cheap, the headhunters, but I got top of the market people, and I could never have found them myself. So I'm we're very blessed here. We've helped out a lot of people. I don't want to quit because I'd lose my purpose. And we just want to help as many people as we possibly can and get them the best deal with the IRS, give them back their life, take away their fear, and let them get on with their lives.
It's so obvious. If you're in San Antonio, 726-202-1300, 726-202-1300. Next week at this time, we will have if you're in the Nashville, if you're in the Tennessee or Missouri area, we will be doing a show with Lance next week, next Friday at 2:00 East or 2:25 Eastern. Lance is with us every month. Lance, I am so blessed that we have your firm, and I will see you next week.
I'm looking forward to it, Steve. Take care of yourself. Thank you, sir.
Attorney Lance Drury, I got to tell you, we are so blessed to have him. And I'm sorry we didn't get to all your letters, but again, if you want to tune in next week, you can. Same station. It's amazing all the people who have a tax situation. Anyhow, that'll do it for us today. We'll be back again with you next week with more Ask the Experts.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.